Okay, so let's start off. What is your main inspiration and motivation?
I guess the current sound, other people's music. I mean, I have to do a radio show every week, so you go through so many new tracks and you hear so many new sounds from different producers.
Right.
That's really what gets me going, so to speak.
And if let's think the top 5 songs that you listen to every day, what would they be?
Oh, that would be hard.
You don't have to give me top 5.
Well, recently I'm a massive carbon-based Lifeforms fan. I really like their album Interlooper that they just re-released, remastered. Yeah, The Orb, Future Sound of London, Cascade, that album by Future Sound of London. Jean-Michel Jarre, Klaus Schulze, Tangerine Dream, those artists are really important. The guys that I really admire, that have meant a lot from my sound, I guess.
Right. So if you were to sing one song, let's say on American Idol, whose would it be?
I think something by Phil Collins. I always loved his songs and his music, yeah.
Good choice. What was your most unforgettable performance and why?
I have to say for the King and Queen, when our newly king was just crowned king, and I played with the Royal Dutch Symphony Orchestra at Concertgebouw Orkest, which is regarded as one of the best orchestras in the world. And they would normally never play with a DJ, but in this case they did, which was super, super exciting. And what happened was it was televised, there was 5 million people watching, and the king decided to come off the boat, which was not scripted. So all of a sudden the king stood on the stage, and it was it was a highlight for me in many ways.
That's
crazy.
Awesome.
Yeah.
So speaking of live music, do you like to perform alongside live music? I remember seeing you at Armin Only Intense, and you had a violin with you as well. Do you like doing that as opposed to just electronic stuff?
I like to vary it a little bit, I'm a DJ and I love to play in clubs. That's my home, that's where I am. But you don't like to eat steak every day, Sometimes you want to eat fish and then you want to eat vegan a little bit. So you try to vary it, make it interesting for yourself. And the idea behind Armin Only is that it's a solo set, so 6 hours. So I have the room to play, the trancey stuff and to really, to build a show around it. But I also want to bring some entertainment. So we have a few moments in the show where I bring live acts, violin, a live singer, a drummer, just to make it a little bit more exciting for the crowd, I guess. I'm just experimenting for myself with different kinds of approaches to the whole DJ thing. Because I think if you would just DJ in a club for the rest of your life, that would be a little bit boring, at least for me.
Sure. Well, speaking of clubs, do you like outdoor venues and festivals or clubs predominantly?
That's the same. I have to give you the same answer again. It's one day you eat steak, the next day you eat fish.
Right.
I love playing a long set for a really energetic club crowd because they really get me going, and I love playing in a dark venue for 800 people. And then I love playing a 1 hour set on a festival for 80,000 people.
Right.
There's not really a preference. It's just the fact that it's different every day that I do that makes it exciting. It's not like you go to the same office every day. You go to a different office, and sometimes you go to an office indoors, sometimes you go to an office outdoors. Yeah, it's amazing. Which
makes people envy your job, I'm sure.
Absolutely.
So speaking of, you got to play at EDC New York. You played on Saturday. You also played recently at Preakness. How was the experience to play at a non-EDM event?
Well, I was a little bit afraid, to be honest, because I thought, this is Preakness. This is an event where normally people come to watch the horse racing, not for... I didn't know how big the infield was, and I knew that they had, I think, Lord last year. So that's a very different artist. So I'm like, are people even going to know who I am? I mean... Isn't this the parents of the kids that normally go to my shows? But how wrong was I? Because I showed up and the crowd was cheering and everybody was going off. It was just phenomenal, really phenomenal.
So this summer you have an upcoming residency in Ibiza. What are you most looking forward to with that?
Well, we have a new stage setup that I can't really reveal too much about, but we're currently designing and building the whole thing. And it's a very, very cool new thing. So, and I love Ushuaia, I love the energy there. I just think it's super special.
Right, I need to get over there soon.
For sure.
Fingers crossed. You're not just a DJ, you're a producer, a radio host with the State of Trance, a label owner. What made you decide to sort of branch out and become a part of every aspect of the EDM community?
Well, I guess it was a little bit born out of necessity. Back in 2002, I was with a label that was a good label, but they weren't believing in my philosophy. They didn't believe the kind of records that I wanted to bring out and the trance that I wanted to promote. So out of necessity, I couldn't find the right label for myself, and I wanted to build a team of people around me that could help me and support me in my vision of dance music. And that's what I did in 2002. In 2003, we started Armada, or we launched the label, which we were already working on for a year. And yeah, I was super excited, and it turned out to be a very smart move. But at that point, it didn't seem like one. You know, it's like, what the hell are we doing? You know, Michael, my current manager, has quit his job at Warner's. He had a really, really good job, and I invested some money in the company. And right now, as they say, the rest is history. You know, pretty crazy.
Right. Speaking of with the state of trance, it's grown tremendously over the years. You have a podcast weekly, it's listened to by many people. You have the world tour, and also the album that's coming out, and because of your residency at Ibiza. Where do you see a state of trance going in the future? Do you have any other plans for it?
Well, every year a State of Trance has been, to put a long story short, it's always been the quick stop for everybody for the latest in trance and progressive in a 2-hour non-stop mix. That is what it was, and that's what it always will be. But I want to keep an open eye to the future, and I always want to be ready for if things change. Or, I mean, music is not a fixed thing, right? It keeps evolving, and I love through a State of Trance to, you know, to watch that development with other people. I like the State of Trance to be the home for any kind of trance. I mean, on the recent episodes of State of Trance, on the festivals, we programmed Psytrance, for example. I think if you have the opportunity to have a festival as a DJ, that you should try and promote all kinds of trance, not just one sound. I mean, I love the Psytrance sound. I love the, you know, 138 sound Brian Carney do, and, you know, Jordan Suckley, Will Atkinson, John O'Callaghan, those guys. And then you have the more main stage sound of, you know, Cosmic Gate, Andrew Rayel, Orjan Nielsen, all those guys. Right. That is also super, super exciting. So I want a State of Trance to be home for every kind of trance, because there used to be one trance sound, but right now it's just so broad, and I think there's something for everybody there. So if I have to guess what the State of Trance, what the future will be, then it's just going to be, you know, broad. It's going to be very broad, because there's so many different sounds in trance right now, which is very exciting.
Yes, there's a lot of subgenres, of course.
Which is new, which is kind of a new thing.
Places to explore, which is exciting.
Yes, absolutely.
So what would you say puts you in a state of trance?
Well, the music puts me in a state of trance. Funnily enough, when I started the radio show and I was looking for a name, I thought the name State of Trance was good, not because I was just going to play trance, but because the music puts you in that state of trance. You know, when you're sitting on a train or in a car and you're totally in the music, you're sort of, you know, you get that beat and you get the vibe, and then you just go away with it. That's what puts me in a state of trance. So it doesn't necessarily need to be trance. I'm a massive fan of ambient dub right now. Guys like Ott and carbon-based live forms, and that's, yeah. It sounds really strange, ambient dub, but look it up on Spotify. It's really experimental. That's what I listen to right now a lot, just in my
cool. I'll check it out time. For sure. So I know you recently came out with Another You with Mr. Probs. How did it feel with the hip hop artist, and do you look forward to working with other artists that have a hip hop background as well?
I think you should. One of my mottos is always don't be a prisoner of your own style. I think a lot of people ask me, who do you want to work with, or what is your, you know, I always say, for me, there's only one thing that counts. It's the song, not the artist. I mean, yes, I really admire guys like, you know, Chris Martin from Coldplay, and you know, Phil Collins, and, you know, I have a big list of people that I admire, but end of the day, I can't stress this enough, the song is always more important than the artist. I mean, I know Mr. Props comes from a completely different background, but we found each other in Another You, because he already had the chorus, and I developed the music underneath it, and together we finished the song in the studio. So we had an actual collaboration that we both felt that sort of matched our worlds, which was super exciting to do, because he comes from the world of hip hop, man. I love hip hop, but I don't even know how to make it. And he's like, dance music. I don't no clue about dance music. I don't know nothing about it. But we found each other in the middle. So again, it proves you like I can't do the same thing twice, even though I'd love to. There's tracks of mine in the past that I'm completely in love with that I still cherish to this day, but I couldn't recreate them. In order for me to be excited and to do something, to create something, I gotta have a certain spark. You know, it's gotta hit me. I gotta like, you know, when Mr. Props came to my house and he sang that chorus in my studio, I was like, wow, this is a really cool chorus. You know, let's just write some music for it. And then you don't think about, oh, I got a single, a Grammy nomination. That's not on your mind. Well, the only thing that's on your mind when you're making that track is just like, cool, that's a nice hook. Let's write some music for it, you know, and that's how you go. And then when Mr. Props goes away and you listen to the track again, you start thinking, wow, this could actually work really well on radio, you know. But that's not what goes through your mind when you sit with him in the studio.
It's just the icing on the cake at the end.
Yeah, yeah. But I make music when I'm actually making the music. I'm not thinking about chart success or about money or about follow-ups. I'm just making music, you know. The rest comes later. Yeah, of course I'm happy that I have a new radio track and it's being received really well. I'm not gonna lie, but at the specific moment that you're writing a song, that's not what happens.
Do you prefer remixes or originals?
I think originals. I mean, remixes are great to add to, but usually you're pretty tied to the song that's already there. Mm-hmm. It can be exciting, especially if you have an idea with it, but originals are better.
I'm with you. So you've been successful for like almost over 15 years. You've hit a bunch of different areas in the trance world. How do you think you remain popular and present throughout the changing times?
I think it's all without trying to remain popular. I mean, the first thing that goes to my mind when I wake up is not like, oh, how can I be on top of DJ Magazine again, or how can I, win many fans. No, it sounds ironic, but the trick to stay relevant is not try to stay relevant. It's just follow your heart. It's to do something that excites you, because you know what? If you don't do something that excites you, then your fans sure as hell won't be excited. You know, like I said, I can't do the same thing twice. I can't. Even though I love a track like Communication or Burned with Desire, I cherish them as my babies, you know. They're really dear to me, but I can't go back and use the same bass line, the same BPM, the same chord structure. I need to change my BPMs, I need to change my sound, I need to work with different people to keep it exciting. Trevor, for example, Trevor Guthrie from This Is What It Feels Like, he's a massive friend of mine, like a huge friend. I mean, I really miss him, not to tour with him anymore. He's a great guy, he's a fantastic guy. But I don't think it would be wise to do a follow-up, because then it would just be not as good as This Is What It Feels Like, you know what I mean?
And you want people to compare.
Yeah, you just do different stuff all the time. You just try to stay relevant without trying to stay relevant. You're not gonna make another track with Trevor Guthrie just for the sake of it. You're just gonna try and do a completely different track. That's what I did with Mr. Props. So the only way to make a follow-up is not try to make a follow-up. Just go in the studio, have fun.
You're also a loving father, husband. I'm sure you miss them. It's probably really hard to balance with all the things that you have going on. How do you go about that?
Well, I have a military diary, let's put it that way. I always want to be home between 5 and 7 when I can feed and bathe the kids and put them to bed. That's a really important moment for me. Wake up with my family. It's just, it's normal stuff. And I make time for that. That's really important, because I want to be there when my kids grow up. I want to see them grow up. And now I'm away from home for a week and I can feel it, It's just, really miss them, and thank God for FaceTime. I mean, that was something that wasn't there 10, 20 years ago, so that makes touring live a little bit more easy. But yeah, it's hard. But you know what? I don't want to miss my fans either. I don't want to miss playing. I mean, my fans are like my children as well,
Sure. Thanks, Dad.
Yeah, I want to, well, maybe let's say the music are my children, because my tracks are my babies, and I want to share them with the world. I'm proud of my tracks, I'm proud of the music, and I love this profession. But I'm less how do you say it? I'm less worried about that. It's just more, I want to do the stuff that I like. I want to do the fun things. And I'm not doing 150 gigs a year anymore just for the sake of DJing that much. When I DJ, when I choose to say yes to a certain gig, I know that it's going to be the right gig, the right crowd, and I want to do it. It's not like, oh, you know, I have to do the graveyard shift after somebody else. No. No, and I'm blessed to say that I can actually, that's sort of a luxurious position, that I can choose the gigs that I want to play.
Great.
So, sort of cherry picking.
So lastly, if you found a lamp with a genie inside and he granted you 3 wishes, what would those wishes be? It's probably going to sound extremely cheesy, but I would just have one wish really, and that would just be happiness and health for everybody, especially health. You know, this life is so short, and you know we need to really look after each other. And I just wish everybody would appreciate more how important health is, and to be in good shape and stuff. That is the only thing that really matters. I mean, yes, of course, it would be great to win a Grammy one day and to work on a movie soundtrack one day, but at the end of the day, the only thing that matters is the love for the people around you and your health. Amen. Amen, of course.